Hi everyone. I am Manisha Mehta. I am a clinical dietitian and a sports nutritionist. And I would want to, first of all, thanks Sridhar for inviting me over for this session. And it's always great talking to people. It's always great answering the questions because I have this agenda wherein I want everybody to, question the knowledge that they are getting, that whether it is the right knowledge or not, and whether they are getting the facts or not. Because I think in our country, there's a lot of fluff when it comes to, especially our field, fitness and health. Because I think in our country, everybody is a nutritionist, everybody is a trainer, and that's why the whole message of the right health and the right information gets diluted. So that's what my agenda is, and that is why I keep on doing these sessions, so that more and more people can be made aware about what actually health should look like. So today we are going to discuss about immunity, and specifically immunity in the times of COVID. So I think immunity is the highest used word right now in the health industry these days. More than weight loss, more than fat loss, more than anything else, it is the immunity which is being spoken about. And again, there's a lot of fluff around it. Ki, vitamin C ki goli kha lo subah utھ ke, or maybe you take zinc supplements le lo, subah utھ ke garam pani pi liya karo. A lot of things are happening, but then with this session I wanted to convey about what exactly immunity means, so that when you understand it better, when you get to the root of it, then it will be much easier for you to build it. Because right now I think we are building up castles in the air, ki immunity aisi honi chahiye, waisi honi chahiye, but then nobody is talking about the facts and figures. So this session is going to be about that. So I am going to start with what immune system is. So if we talk about the dangers that our body faces on an everyday basis, they're massive. So our body can have a negative reaction against dust, dirt, microorganisms. So microorganisms are practically everywhere. They are outside of us, inside of us, and in fact there are studies which say that the number of microorganisms which are there in and on our body, the number of microorganisms is more than the number of cells that we actually have. So we are more of a bacteria than we are a human being. But still, despite all of those, and there are good bacteria, there are bad bacteria, there are good pathogens, good microbes and bad microbes, but despite all of those, we still are surviving, we still are living, and in a healthy way most of the times. So how is that possible? That is possible because we have an immune system in place, because we have a system in place in our body which actually tackles with negative things, if at all they occur. If at all we have a pathogen attack, any harmful bacteria entering our system, our body has a system to kill it before it can actually harm us. At times it gets late. That is the reason why we get fevers, cough, cold, viral infections and everything. But then most of the times it is able to tackle it before we even realize it. So the things that actually kill those microorganisms are called antibodies, and we have almost 10 crore different type of antibodies. I'm not even talking about the number of antibodies, I'm just talking about the different types of antibodies, right? And in fact, the best example of this is the coronavirus cases itself. So this fatality rate that I have put in here, which is 2.38%, which means not more than 2 to 3 people will die if 100 people have coronavirus. So right now there is no vaccine for it. Nobody knows how to cure it. But still there are people recovering from it. How? There's no medicine. They are just taking the normal paracetamol and they're just eating properly. They're just resting. So how are they recovering from a danger which we did not even know till 1 year back? It is because our body has 10 crore different types of antibodies which are working as our bodyguards, which can tackle, which can deal with almost anything on the planet Earth, or maybe even outside. We don't know. Uh, but yes, our body is developing an immunity. So the people who are infected, their body is developing an immunity against that newly found, negative microorganism. So since it is new, we our body didn't know how to deal with it. That's why it takes time. And any which way, if there is a viral infection in our body, it takes around 7 to 14 days to recover. Even if we have a normal flu, then also it takes around 5 to 6, 7 days to fully recover. That is because our body is dealing with it over those 7 to 8 days. And also, in fact, for any viral disease, there are majorly only vaccines which are there. There is no medicine over the counter which you can take and you can get rid of it. So whenever we have a viral infection, generally the cycle is so that a virus enters our body detects it and then tries to kill it. In that process, the virus keeps on multiplying. By the time our body is dealing with it, this microorganism will also multiply, and in that multiplication process, our body will face some discomforts. It will get fever, it will get cough, cold. These are just symptoms. So what we can do when we have a viral infection, what all we do is that all that we can do is that we can work on the symptoms, right? So when we work on the symptoms, we are basically easing out the process, and meanwhile our body will deal with the virus. The same thing is happening with the coronavirus also. Of course, since this is a new thing, so when I come to the types of immunity, so as I said that there are our body has different levels of immunity. First is the innate immune response, which is the first line of action. For example, our skin has a acidic pH. So if something tries to enter through our skin has the ability to kill it then and there. Our nose, there are our eyes. So the tear glands that we have, why our eyes are moist all the time? Because that is also an acidic fluid which is there. So if something tries to enter through the eyes, our eyes have the capability to whole soul be the one man army and then kill it then and there. Same thing happens with our nose, same thing happens with our mouth. In the mouth there is saliva which is there. So on different levels, on the first level of protection, the first level of protection is our outer body, our skin, our eyes, nose, mouth. So these things are the innate immune response. But if something has the capability to pass through it and then finally enter the body, then comes the adaptive immune response, which is the second line of action, which is a little more specialized. It takes time. So if some bacteria or some virus manages to pass through all our first line of action, then our second line of action will come into picture, and it will take some time to judge what kind of a thing has entered, and then what kind of, out of those 10 crore antibodies, which one will fit, which one can kill it. So this process takes a little time, but then our body is able to do that as well. So the same thing, in fact, as I said, is happening in the coronavirus case. It's entering the body, and that is the reason why we are told to put masks, or keep our eyes covered, our nose covered, our mouth covered, so that the first line of action doesn't have to suffer through it much. We are told to wash our hands continuously, because if the virus is on our hands, it is killed then and there. So we are basically aiding the natural process. But if it still manages to go inside, of course it will take some time to recover. And since it is a little deadly among all the coronaviruses, so also there are many different type of coronaviruses which have already been there. So if you remember SARS, SARS, that was also one of the coronavirus types only. So this is nothing new. It is just a new mutation which has happened. For example, if a horse and a donkey mutate and reproduce together, they will create a new kind of animal, right? Same is coronavirus. It is, we do not know what kind of a mutation has happened, but the end result is deadly. So it is new for us, it is new for our body as well, and it doesn't match the existing things that our body has dealt with. That is why it takes a little time, and that's why it is deadly. So, and what happens when it enters the our am I audible and am I visible clearly? Give me a thumbs up, please. Okay, great. So what happens is that when a microorganism manages to enter inside our body, then again there are different levels of killing mechanisms. So the primary killing mechanism there is that we have our phagocytes. So phagocytes are big cells, which will basically, what they'll do is they'll encircle the negative microorganism, take it inside, and then through their acidic juices, it will kill the microorganism, right? So that is what is happening in the cases of coronavirus people also, right? So our body is trying to figure out which one out of these 10 crore antibodies might be able to kill that. And in fact, that's what the scientists are also trying to achieve. That is the reason why it is taking so much time to create the vaccine, because scientists are trying to find out which one of our all the antibodies are able to fight this coronavirus, and they will basically make similar kind of chemical compositions in the lab so that they can make the vaccine out of it. Now this is what happens in the immunity. This is what the science says. Now what we can do, so the next section is that what we can do in order to help our body, and in order to help the immune functions do their job better. Okay, if it is clear by now, till now, if everything is good, just give me a thumbs up so that we can go further. Guys, just give me a thumbs up if everything is clear by now. Great. So yes, so what can we do about it? There are certain things which can actually reduce our immunity and have an impact on our immunity. That's what we are going to discuss in the next section. So first is that you eat only when you are hungry. Okay, this is a very, very simple thing, but there is a lot of science inside it, which we are going to discuss. So yes, fasting is a good way. There are many people who these days are doing intermittent fasting, 16-hour fasting and everything. Why it is so popular is because there are researches which say that if we have a feeding restrictions, then there is a lot of help which happens in the cases of autoimmune disease and even cancer. And then there is some regenerative switch in our body which kind of switches on. Why this happens? The scientific explanation for that can be that when we are eating regularly, what happens is that a lot of our blood flow is towards our gut, towards our stomach, to aid the process of digestion. Now, when we put that process to rest, when we are not giving a lot of food to our stomach for the digestion, then the blood flow can be towards other regions of the body. And when it is towards the other regions of the body, and when the body is not digesting, then it can focus on regenerative processes, on detoxification. So again, detoxification is also one of the many used terms, many commonly used terms. Detoxification you cannot do from outside. Okay, detoxification, we have a natural system of detoxification installed in our body, which is working 24/7. And how that works is that, so the components of this are liver, kidneys, skin, lungs, anything which and even gut, anything which helps your body to expel out stuff is detoxification system. Okay, so generally toxins are the stuff which our body is unable to dissolve. Okay, so what liver does is that soluble in water. Once they're soluble in water, then they can be expelled out in the form of carbon dioxide through breath, or or our urine through kidneys, or our poop through gut, or our sweat through the skin. Right. So this is the natural system of detoxification which we have. So these things our body will be able to focus more when it is not digesting, right? That is the reason why when we are hungry for a little time, it actually helps us in uh, you know in building the immunity and basically resetting the body in a way. Now when it comes to being hungry, of course it is a tough thing. I know it is a tough thing because I can't stay hungry, but we have to here be in sync with our body's signals, and we have to exactly know when we are hungry, when we are thirsty, and when we are bored. Okay, I know so many people, and in fact it happens with most of us, that we confuse our thirst or our boredom with being hungry. So कुछ समझ में नहीं आ रहा है क्या करें, चलो खा लेते हैं, या फिर we are actually thirsty but we don't even realize, so we'll actually rather than having water we will just go and eat something, but still we will not feel satiated because it was not the hunger which was there, it was the thirst. So for this, for to make a clear demarcation in this, we have to be very very closely in touch with our body's signal. Okay, how we can do that I will tell you in the slides later, but yes, we have to be in close sync with our body signals, and then be honest about them, because even if we are thirsty and even if we are bored, and you even realize that okay fine, it's not the hunger, it's just the boredom, but then if you're not honest with yourself that it's okay, koi baat nahi, kha lete hain, that would not work, right? So we have to know the body signals, and then we have to be honest about them also, right? Next, yes, having said that, fasting helps our immunity, but also if you are starving yourself, then also your immunity is going to suffer. And in fact, these two are results of the same research study which I have pasted in the on the side. It said that there is a evidence that feeding restriction has beneficial effects on several health issues, including some types of cancer, autoimmune disease such as multiple sclerosis. However, some studies suggest that restriction of calories might also ameliorate the sickness, which means that it can increase the chances of us getting sick. How does that happen? When we are not eating enough, we are actually weakening the body, we are actually weakening our muscle system, we are increasing the amount of fat that we have, and hence the organ health suffers. And it's a very basic it's a very basic funda which we have been told in our nutritional sciences, that till the time you're not eating enough calories, no matter how many vitamins and minerals you have, they will not be absorbed. So first primary thing is the calorie count. Then comes the ancillary functions like immunity, like having a good skin, having good hair. These things come later. First is the calorie count. So we are not going to nutritionally starve ourselves. And in fact, these days it's been almost 4 months that we are in a same. Many people have gained weight, and after 2 months and 3 months of lockdown, they realize that okay, fine, I have gained weight. And now there are so many people who are coming up to me, Manisha, I have gained so much of weight in 3 months. Help me lose it fast. Now, till the time you're stuck in the rut of losing the weight fast, it is definite that your immunity is going to suffer. So that's not something that we need to do. So even if you want to lose weight right now, it should not be done with the help of any fat diets. It should not be done by with any low calorie diets. And we have to keep a balance between our carbohydrates, proteins, fats, and vitamins and minerals. And also, of course, because we had so much time in the past few months, that's why everybody turned master chef, and we made so much of fancy stuff at home. But then the good part is that it was homemade. However, we have to one restore the ratio of our macros, which is carbohydrate, protein, and fat. And second is that we need to reduce the frequency of these things. However, if you really need to have something, then it is always better to have it homemade. And then the next aspect of immunity is the stress. And I feel it is the most overlooked aspect of immunity. Nobody talks about it. Hardly I see people talking about the connection of stress and immunity. And in fact, yes, there are studies which say that if we have stress, there will be a dysregulation in immune system. However, there are also studies which say that even if we have perceived stress, so we don't have a direct stress in our life, but we just perceive that we have stress, that also reduces the immunity. And in fact, when we talk about stress, I want to bring into notice this one concept which I don't think many people talk about. But also, if it is digestible till this point, please give me a thumbs up. If everything is understandable till this point, just give me a thumbs up. Okay. Thank you, Kusha. So I would want to slightly get into the depth of stress. So see, our planet have been in existence for the past 15 billion years. Okay, 15 billion years is a massively long time, and we human beings have started existing on the planet only 3 million years ago. So if I give you a scale for this, if Earth started existing like 30 hours from right now, we came a minute ago. Okay, so that's the scale for the reference. Why I'm telling you this? Because the process of evolution is massively slow. Okay, it took around 10 billion years for the first cell to come into existence. Okay, and from that first cell, we came like 5 billion years later. So it's a massively slow process. So why it is important to us? Because it tells us that we still work like early man. Okay. Now why is that important? Because okay, so put yourself in the shoe of an early man. Why would he be stressed? What is the reason for him to get stressed? There were only two reasons why he would be stressed. One, he did not get food. Second, he did not get a safe place to sleep. These are the only two things. If you can think of some third thing, let me know. I don't think. If you can think of any one reason apart from these two why he would be stressed, I think yes, we can discuss that. But according to me, these are the only two reasons why he would be stressed. Okay. So moving on. Why it is important to us? Because our body made defense mechanisms to deal with stress based on those two reasons only. Okay, so that is the reason why our body still works in that manner itself. So if we are stressed for any reason, so what will happen in the early man body is that if he is stressed, our body started creating a hormone called cortisol. And that cortisol, what it did was, it will create a layer of fat around his organs, so that in case one, he's not getting food to eat, so it will store energy in the form of fat. Secondly, fat will work as a cushion if in case an animal attacks, right? So that he can survive. Now, our brain, since it is a very, very long process of evolution, our brain on that scale has just realized how to deal with stress, right? So our brain cannot differentiate between the stress of an animal running behind you, or you being stressed because of an office report. So our brain cannot differentiate between the two. So if you are stressed for any reason, our body still will think that you are about to die and you have to survive at any cost. So it will start building a layer of fat on your stomach, right? That is the reason why no matter how hard you try, पेट का fat नहीं जाता है, right? And why it is important in the terms of coronavirus? Because the more we watch the news, the more we divulge into numbers, the more we worry about numbers. अभी इतने cases हो गए, अभी इतने cases हो गए, इतने cases हो गए. That is a perceived stress for our body. And when our body is stressed, then it will not think about immunity. Because अगर question survival का है, तो पहले survival होगा, ancillary functions बाद में होंगे, right? If you agree, give me a thumbs up. Thank you. I think only Kusha is listening. Where is everybody else? Okay. So next comes. Thank you, Anusha. So next comes what we can do about the stress. So we have discussed about the eating pattern. We have discussed about the nutritional starvation, how we are not going to do it, and what is the solution for that. So next is how to deal with the stress. Of course, we are living in a stressful time. We have financial crunches. Many of us are laid off from the job and everything. So of course, we are very stressed right now. But what we can do to kind of deal with it, there are the negative part of stress is that our body cannot differentiate between whether we are stressed for our job or we are stressed because we are not having food or the survival issues. It is a positive thing also, because when you work on the aspects, when we basically use hacks in the terms of the early man, so what we need to do is that we just need to create an environment in our body which would be good for the early man. Our body will be able to deal with the stress, right? And how we can do that? That is the next section. So again, as I said, it is the early man outlook. What would early man need to be stress free? We just need to focus on that. Okay, what would he need? He would need timely food and timely sleep. No other thing, right? There is no third thing that he would need, क्योंकि उसके पास और कुछ नहीं है, right? उसको टाइम पे खाना चाहिए, उसको टाइम पे सोना चाहिए, बस ये दो चीजें मिल जाए, he's happy, correct? So, and there will not be any stress because there will not be any survival condition. So there will not be any cortisol, right? So we have to think in that perspective. So wake up on time, eat on time, sleep on time. These three things and you'll be sorted. Okay. So first thing is this. Secondly, just the way there are stress hormones, there are happy hormones also in our body. And what these happy hormones do is exactly opposite of the stress hormones. What they will do is that they'll make you more energetic. They will make you feel happy. They will basically tell your brain chemically that everything is sound and sound and nice and jolly. And when we are in that kind of a situation, then the digestion will be better, because there is no need to run away. There is no need to survive, right? We are calm, peaceful, happy. So we need to work on the happy hormones. How we can increase the happy hormones is, so these are the 4 points which are there. First is that you do what you love. Like, for example, right now in the lockdown, I have spoken to groups like yours. I mean, so many groups, because it just gives me happiness to share what I have learned in the 14 years of my studies. in a very, very simple way so that everybody can understand. That's what my jazz is. Whatever is yours, just go ahead and do it. Right? Whatever genuinely keeps you happy, go ahead and do it. And it does not have to be something massive. It can be as simple as playing with your pet. It can be as simple as playing with a baby. It can be as simple as cooking, or whatever your jam is, just go ahead and do it. Second, workout. So what happens with the workout is, I have questions. Due to cortisol, yes, exactly. Yeah. Due to cortisol, the immunity starts to fall down. As actually, cortisol is not anti-inflammatory. Cortisol is inflammatory. Yeah. Thank you, Madhvi. So anti-inflammatory is a good thing. Inflammatory is the bad thing. Cortisol is inflammatory, not anti-inflammatory. So anyway, so next point is the workout. So when we talk about workout, yes, of course, if you can do a workout in a calculated manner, if you can, if you have the guidance of a personal trainer, if you have weights at your home, if you have, equipments at your home, great, very good. But if you don't have, do not wait for the perfect situation to come, right? Because I think everyone will relate with this. We have waited a pretty long time for the situations to be perfect to do so many things in life. I mean, I started my YouTube channel 2 months back, which I had planned 2 years ago. And I did not start it because I thought maybe I'm not good enough. I thought maybe, I need to learn more. Maybe I need to have a better equipment. Maybe I need to have a better lighting. Maybe I need to have a better ambience, whatever. But then this time it was like, I need to do the damn thing, right? So when it comes to workout and self-care, it's the same thing. So we just need to do it. We just need to start with it, right? If doing a dance class for 15 minutes is your workout, great. If doing 5 Surya Namaskars every day is your thing, if you call that a workout, go ahead and do it, right? Why it is important? Because when we work out, we actually create a very little amount of cortisol in our body, but it is a calculated way of stressing the body. And when you do a calculated damage, you know exactly how much repair you need, right? And that can happen because in increasing the amount of happy hormones. So it's just like a vaccine, So you give a little amount of, just a second. So you give a little amount. How do vaccines work? You give a very little amount of bad bacteria or virus in your body so that your body can create a massive amount of antibody and remember it that, okay, fine, this antibody works with this hormone, this virus. Same thing is going to work in the case of calculated damage also. You do a little damage so that your body can repair that much by considering that you are eating properly, right? So workout is going to help you in that way, one. Secondly, when we work out, our body has a massive splurge of happy hormones. So naming a few, there is dopamine, there is oxytocin, there is serotonin. So these hormones basically increase in the quantity when we work out, right? And in fact, I'm not sure if, how many of you have experienced this. If you have, give me a thumbs up. But when we work out, if we are not feeling good, but we do the workout anyway, we come out of the workout really happy and content. If you have experienced this, give me a thumbs up. But yeah, I have done it, doing a workout in a really, really bad mood and then coming out of it really happy. So yes, so workout, yes, if you can do a calculated amount of workout, a perfect workout, a calculated, in sync with your trainer's knowledge workout, great. If not, do whatever you can, but do it. Next is that you eat with your family together. So it's a very, so this point is going to serve dual purpose. One, if we eat with, people that, if we eat in a situation which is calming for us, the nutrition absorption is better because the blood flow and again the happy hormones are going to be better, right? So one is that. Secondly, when you are with your family, you're basically creating bonds which are going to serve you long term, right? Next is when you are eating with your family, or when we are actually spending time with any kind of loved one, there is again a massive splurge of oxytocin, dopamine, and serotonin, which is released in our body. So this point is going to work in a multifold way. So eating in a calming place is going to help you in the nutrition absorption better, and spending time with your family is going to anyway increase the amount of happy hormones. Next, last but very, very, very important, you sleep as close to the sunset time as possible. Now, why it is important is that our body, so till the time we did not have clocks, our body still knew what the time of the day it was. How? Because our body has a natural clock inside of it. Okay, so that's called circadian rhythm. If you want, you can study about it. I have in fact spoken about it in a lot of detail, the research papers about it, and a detailed explanation of this on my YouTube channel in the video called Sleep Like You Have Never Before. So what happens is that when uh, when the sun rises, our body knows that it's light and we have to wake up now. When the sun sets, our body knows that the sun has set, the light is down, and now is the time to repair itself. Okay, when we wake up, our body releases hormones which make us active, and when the sun sets, then our body releases hormones which basically make us relaxed, calm, and all the damage which we have done during the day, our body prepares itself to repair all of those damages. But again, as I said, it happens at a specific time. So the ideal time for body repair is 3 to 4 hours after the sunset, and that process takes around 3 to 4 hours. Okay, and so I think this thing is also very commonly told to everybody of us, that when we sleep, our body repairs itself. Let me give you a few examples of what all happens actually when we are sleeping. So everybody knows that our brain is walnut shaped, and then there are curves and tunnels and everything in our brain, right? What happens when we sleep is that our brain, those turns and twists, they actually open up in size. Then there is this cerebrospinal fluid, which is basically like a splash of water which has cleaning agents in it. It flows through the brain and cleans the brain. This actually happens in our brain when we are sleeping. Okay, apart from that, when we are awake during the day, there is a chemical in our body, in our eyes, which is called retinol. During the day, it reacts with the light and converts to beta carotene, right? And the good thing is that beta carotene is recyclable. So when we are sleeping, when we are awake, our body converts all the retinol to beta carotene. When we are sleeping, our body recycles that beta carotene to retinol for the next day. And that is the reason why, if you do not sleep properly in the night, you might feel that the eyes are paining, light kind of pokes in the eye. This is the reason why, because the retinol is not fully prepared to so beta carotene cannot deal with light, and you haven't given enough time to your body to basically recycle that beta carotene back to retinol. Then on the physical form, our muscles, they are basically like bundle of threads. Okay, so there are many very, very thin threads which basically combine to make one muscle. During the day, we basically break those threads, and it is inevitable, that will definitely happen. So what will happen is that when you are sleeping, so whatever the wear and tear and the damages which are there in the muscle, the fiber have broken down, they will basically reweave themselves and make the muscle intact again. So these are a few of hundreds and millions of things which happen during the sleep. These are a few examples of that, right? So if you're not making the most out of that time of repair, there is a massive chance that, now imagine this thing. So when these big things are not able to happen, if you're not sleeping properly, how will the minute and subtle things like immunity work, right? So that is the reason why sleeping on time is so important. Okay. Now we can take the questions. And again, so as I said, so what happens is that when we are stressed, there is a lot of damage in the body. The cortisol will actually break down the muscle, take out energy from that, and then convert it to fat and then store it. Uh, and meanwhile, in this process, because there is a lot of hue and cry inside the body, there will be a lot of free radicals. So I think free radicals is a very commonly used term, which is there. There are a lot of free radicals which are released in that process. Now, why are these free radicals so bad for us? Is that free radicals are like highly charged, supercharged components, which will basically, kick off a multiplication reaction in any cell. Now, if a cell is multiplying on an uncontrollable rate, then it becomes inflammation. And when that inflammation goes out of hand, then it becomes tumor and cancer and stuff like that. That is the reason why it is important. And in the smaller scale, it will show as wrinkles, it will show as bad skin, it will show as pigmentation, and in the worst and ultimate cases, it shows as cancer and tumors. So that is the reason why it is important that we cut down the free radical production. And even if there are free radical production, so free radicals will be there every day. We cannot, completely eliminate the process. But what we can do is we can stabilize those free radicals. We can bind those free radicals so that they cannot, multiply anywhere in the body. So antioxidants, which is again a very, very commonly used term, antioxidants are the components which basically react with the free radicals. It's like, it's like an overactive bacha running around the house and smashing everything around. And then, there is an elder who will be like, okay, fine, calm down, kid. It's okay. That elder person will, basically sit the kid down, give them a talk so that they can calm down a bit. So antioxidants are basically doing that thing for the free radicals. And the examples of free radicals, examples of antioxidants are why we say that citrus fruits are important, because vitamin C is one such component which will basically calm the free radicals down. There are vitamins, vitamin A, vitamin D, vitamin E. These are going to basically calm down these free radicals. And vitamin C comes from citrus fruits, vitamin E comes from nuts and oil seeds, and oils and fats that we use. Vitamin D comes from the milk products and the sunlight. So our body makes its own vitamin D if our basic nutrition is in place. Then there are isoflavones. There are these components in the green tea which are there. So that is the reason why these foods are given so much importance, because they are basically calming down our free radicals. So this is the overlook of immunity. And I did not realize I've been talking for 50 minutes now. So if you have any questions, drop me so that we can deal with the questions. Free radicals will cause the damage to the cell, right? Yes. Leading to apoptosis of the cell, yes. It is a potent it's an inflammatory hormone. So cortisol actually causes inflammation, but anti-inflammatory hormones are the dopamine and serotonin and all that stuff. So yes, apoptosis is actually the process of cell death, and free radicals actually cause apoptosis, yes. If we are taking multivitamin, what is the best time to consume it? As for me, you do not require any multivitamin, because if you are eating good amount of fruits, you would not need one. However, if you are take it after the breakfast. But my suggestion always would be that vitamins are best absorbed when you are empty stomach, but in their natural form. So what happens is that when you are taking nutrients from the natural forms, then they basically come in combinations of different symbiotic elements. For example, there are many researches which initially said that curcumin is very good for anti-inflammation. So turmeric में से curcumin निकाल के उसके tablets बेचने लगे. But what eventually they found out was that curcumin works best in its natural form when taken from turmeric itself, because there are many other chemical components in its natural form which basically help in the absorption of that active component. So that is the reason why if you're taking vitamin A, vitamin C, it is always better to take it in the natural form, because there are many other things which will come along with it which will help the absorption. But of course, if you and also it's very important that your calorie intake is good enough, because if your calorie intake is not good, your vitamins will not work, no matter how many multivitamins you take. A query I have is, due to steroids, does infection increase or reduce? Depends which kind of steroids you are taking. However, most of them, yes, they increase your susceptibility to infections, but not all of them. So I have been on corticosteroids for a very long time. I am an asthmatic. So, however, I have, kind of controlled the asthma over a period of 12 years by the help of yoga, meditation, healthy lifestyle, eating properly, having a lot of water. So that steroid kind of, I do not need to take it anymore. So I take it only when it is utterly important, which is when the weather changes. So eventually 80% of whatever your body behaves like will be because of your lifestyle. So if you can manage your lifestyle, you would not have to depend on the steroids, no matter what kind of steroids you are on. So I have been on heavy dosages of corticosteroids for many years. My asthma was detected when I was in class 7th, and I have suffered massively with it till the age of 19. So that was 7-8 years. But year after year, it has gotten better as I have been, practicing a healthy lifestyle. And in fact, now I am in a state when, despite being in Delhi, even during the Diwali time, it doesn't bother me at all. So if the lifestyle is good, you'll be able to actually get rid of steroids forever. So is there any other question? Nikita, did I answer your question? Great. All right. Any other question? I'm a doctor, so I'm aware, yes. I read it this way, that cortico reduces immunity, makes it an anti-inflammatory. But okay, so we'll have to talk about it separately, because, okay, so anti-inflammation itself is an immune response, and inflammation itself, I'm asking this question since a long time. Okay, so Anusha, let's just break it down to to the bits. Cortisol is actually causing muscle loss. This I'm sure you know. So cortisol actually breaks down the muscle fibers. Now, when the muscle fibers break down, what will happen? There will be inflammation. And the major function of cortisol is that, one, it reduces the muscle mass because it wants to maximize the amount of energy available in the body. Second, it maximizes the storage of the energy, so it increases the formation of adipocytes. And when that happens, when muscle is reducing and fat is increasing, then what will happen? Inflammation will actually increase. So cortisol is actually inflammation causing hormone, and in fact, I have documented a video on cortisol on my YouTube channel. It's called Stress, how to deal with stress, and I have I have documented a lot of researches which have also been done on cortisol. So you can check that out, and in fact, we can discuss it separately as well. I am having excessive hair fall. What should I do for it? Is it related to immunity? It's not directly related to immunity, Nikita. However, if you are having excessive hair fall, that shows that so basically it's your body's way of telling you that you need something, you need help in the terms of nutrition. So try and increase your protein amount a bit. If you're having less calories overall, then try and increasing your, if you're trying to cut down on calories, stop doing that for a while. And if at all you're eating enough calories, if you're eating stomach full, then try and improve the amount of protein that you're taking, and it should get better. But yes, if it continues for a long time, that means there is a nutritional deficiency, and then immunity will be suffering for sure. Yes. So Sridhar, thank you, Kusha.
Yeah.
Yeah. So Sridhar, should we wrap up?
Yeah, I think we will close it. More doubts, I guess.
Okay. So is there any other question that you have? And also, thank you, Madhvi. So if there is any question, just write me down. Otherwise, give me a feedback on how the session was. And can you please share vegetarian protein options? Okay. So dal is an amazing option for protein in vegetarians. Any kind of dal. So it can be whole moong dal, it can be rajma, chana, any dal would do. Apart from that, if you take milk and milk products, great, you can take them. Yeah, these are the basic, there are people who would say that nuts are also a protein source, but not so much, because they have, so the ratio, if we see how much of protein versus how much of fat, nuts are a good source of fat, not so much of protein. So you can, yes, so you can use lentils, rajma, chana. You can use ramdana. So ramdana is ramdana or amaranth or cholai. So these are the few words of the same thing. And it's also a very amazing source of protein. So if you haven't related with it yet, रामदाना is that grain जिसका हम नवरात्रि में लड्डू खाते हैं, वो छोटा छोटा दाने वाला. Milk, with all its disadvantages, what kind of milk do you suggest? Yeah, so there are there are many theories about how milk is so bad these days, which I kind of agree with. But I left non-vegetarian 12 years back. Milk is something that I still love. So despite the disadvantages, but yes, if you want to take milk, then there is A2 milk which is available, which you can take. However, if you do not want to consume milk, then and also milk has been proven to be an inflammatory agent by many researchers. So and curd is a slightly better option than milk. So if you want to make that choice, you can do it there. However, if you have A2 milk available easily, then go for it. So A2 is actually, they say that it is organic, but I mean, we don't know how much of a marketing, how much role marketing plays in the products these days. We all know that, but then it's about keeping the faith and making the right choices as per what we feel is right. Having half a liter milk or more leads to fat gain. Depends on which milk you are taking. So there are different types of milk which are available. So there is full cream milk which has 6% fat. There is tone milk which has 3% fat, and double tone milk which has 1.5% fat. But protein and rest of the things will remain the same. So you can choose the double tone option. Yes. Yeah, no, it will not cause you fat gain. But again, it's about the portion size. So half a liter is good enough. It's 2 glasses, so that's fine. So, all right. So I would request you guys to give me a feedback, and if you can give us give us a shout out on the Instagram stories. Take a screenshot of this session and then share it on your Instagram stories and tag me and tag Sridhar Consult Living so that we can do more sessions like these. What about paneer? Yeah, paneer is generally made of full cream milk. So if you are making it at home with double tone milk, great. Otherwise, anyway, we don't eat that much paneer on an everyday basis. So anyway, it's a once in a week or once in 15 days kind of a thing. So you can have. All right. So I've answered all the questions. And the rest of the questions, if at all you have, you can connect with me personally. And yeah, we'll stay in touch. And thank you so much for coming for the session. Thank you so much for taking out time. I hope it has been fruitful. I hope you have learned something new here. If you have, please let me know here or on Instagram or wherever. And yeah, I'll keep meeting you again and again. All right, Sridhar, can you now end the session?
Yeah, yeah. Thank you so much for the session.
All right, Sridhar. Thank you so much for inviting me. Though.
Yeah, thank you. I'll close
All
this.
right. All right. Yes, dal should be combined with rice. Yes. What is your take that vegans should consume high amount of protein per meat to get the same MPS as non-vegetarians? Um, so they'll have to consume a little more of protein than the non-vegetarians, but that's fine. And in fact, there are researches which are going on, which are actually questioning the whole protein absorption and protein quotient thing. So in fact, I have clients who are completely vegans and they have great muscle mass. They are gaining muscle every month. I have gained muscle after leaving non-veg. So I don't think that makes much of a difference. It's majorly about the overall calorie distribution and the overall, your lifestyle. What kind of workout, what kind of sleeping pattern, and what kind of protein you're having. So I don't think non-vegetarian makes much of a difference. I've been a non-vegetarian for 19 years of my life, and now a vegetarian for 11 years. So yeah, I don't think it makes much of a difference. All right, guys. So should we close? I think it's dinner time. Everybody should go and drop me your questions personally if you have any.